what's going on in the world is no less vibrational than what's going on within the depths of each of us. Each of us gets one vote in this collective thing we call life, our collective reality. We're projecting onto the ethers our vibrational vote. You want to make the highest possible contribution you can so that we can lift ourselves up out of this cloud. That's the opportunity.
Welcome to Exploring the Mystical Side of Life with your host, Glenda Lang.
Hi, this is Linda Lang from ThoughtChange.com. We are exploring the mystical side of life once again this week. If you enjoy our conversations, remember to subscribe, share with a friend. We are talking ascension and these times that we're living through as humanity awakens. I have Rasha with me. She is a spiritual teacher and messenger for Oneness. Welcome, Rasha.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today.
Well, Rasha, you have such a beautiful book called Oneness, and it's been out for a long time, specifically about this time that humanity is going through. I'm so curious how your path unfolded, being a messenger for Oneness living in India.
It's been a long, fascinating journey. I started as a very normal person. I was a businesswoman. I had a jewelry company, and I was marginally awakened and suddenly heard a voice on a beautiful sunny day at a lake, looking at the sparkles on the water and thinking, this is gorgeous. And in that moment, I had a spontaneous heart chakra opening. And I heard a voice that said, I love you. That was the beginning. And I knew it wasn't my thought. I was completely innocent. No background at all, which is, I guess, what they needed. Somebody else not tainted in any way. So I went on to have a conversation in my mind with the voice, who turned out to be Lord Ram, the Hindu god, who I had never heard of in those days. We're talking 1987. It started. And then I went on to transcribe some teachings of Ram. And after about 6 months of doing that, I wasn't ready. I decided, no, this isn't for me. And I stopped, and 10 years went by. And again, I was approached, this time by a consciousness I came to know as Amitabh, which is an aspect of Lord Shiva. And Amitabh became my first real spiritual teacher. So I'm not a person who went the traditional route with gurus and satsangs and all of that. I did none of that. The teachings and the guidance came from within me. And I started just jotting it down like a secretary taking dictation. And then with tears streaming down my face, often read what had been written. And that's how it started.
What a beautiful story, Rasha. It's like you plugged in directly right from the beginning.
I did. They say I signed up for this in a previous life, although I don't remember having signed up for this. It was almost too easy for me to do this. It's almost like I knew it. I knew how to do it at some level. So clearly this was what I was meant to be doing, and not creating beautiful earrings, which is what I thought I was supposed to be doing with my life.
It's so interesting, too, that it took the root of Eastern spirituality. You were in America, and
Yeah.
you probably didn't know very much about it. Yeah.
Zero, which was the qualification. They wanted someone who was a blank slate. They didn't have to undo indoctrination or any of the layers of belief systems many of us come into awakening with. I was just clueless, truly clueless when it started, and was quickly thrust into the deep end with transcribing teachings that often I didn't understand what I was writing. I came to understand later what this was, what this meant, but I trusted and I wrote down verbatim what I heard. I just got out of the way.
What did you do with the teachings?
Initially, I filed them. I did nothing. I did nothing with them for more than 10 years, the teachings of Amitabh. And then I was about to move, and I remember coming across this file and reading it and thinking, my God, this has got to be published. This is valuable. People should read this. And that was the beginning. And that was the book, The Calling, that also has just been reformatted for the needs of today's readers. And that book is a beautiful entry-level introduction to awakening. The Oneness material goes deeper.
So now the message came through that you had agreed to this in a past life. You had this connection with spirit to receive these messages. What was the purpose of the messages for this time and space?
For this time particularly, gives us a foundation for what is actually going on here. Why the level of upheaval? Why is the world in such flux? Why are our individual lives falling apart and coming together in different ways? And it gives you an understanding that it's all energy. It's vibrational. And it teaches us the importance of keeping our vibration high and how to do that. So that is a big part of the oneness material, is an understanding that all of this is vibrational. And that, for example, if you go into a situation, that crossroads may have been predestined, but the outcome of it wasn't. You could get a best case scenario, or you could get a disaster, depending on the energy you bring to the moment. So that's where the free will comes in. It's all predetermined. You're going to meet this guy and you're going to have this situation happen. But is it going to be a triumph, or is it going to be an absolute disaster? That you determine with your energy, how powerful we all are.
And then from there, it also goes to creating what happens in the future.
Exactly, because it's setting the foundation for the next stage, for the next step. And it's a huge subject that is not covered in a lot of other material.
And there's quite a bit more information in this book besides awakening. I remember reading about forgiveness.
Oh dear.
Yes, forgiveness, because for many that is a path of healing. And yet you get to a level where you don't have to forgive because there's just compassion, right?
Yeah, well, the forgiveness is part of the process of letting go of your tethering to having to be right on a certain issue. So most people, when they forgive, they pay lip service to the forgiveness. But what you really want to be able to do is to let go of any attachment you have. You are in surrender about it. You are in consummate allowance about it. Then you no longer have the components for magnetizing that category of experience to you again. Because you know, many of us, most of us, are having repeat performances of the same old thing. Oneness refers to this as your life theme. It's a category of experience that'll turn up with different names and faces, but basically it's the same issue. You take that and trace it back to what category of emotion is that calculated to trigger? What should I be feeling when that person just broke my heart? When that person just betrayed me? What should I be feeling? What emotion I'm not allowing myself to feel deeply? And when you don't allow yourself to really feel it, the energy is still there projecting onto the ethers. Kick me, break my heart. Whatever your theme is, then you'll get another version of that. So the key to breaking those patterns is to allow yourself to feel the depths of your feelings and then let it go. Feel it deeply. You don't want to throw a log on a fire you're trying to put out. You don't want to draw your sword and go into battle and give this person a piece of your mind. No. But allow yourself to feel it, the outrage, the sadness, whatever it is you're working on. And then choose to let it go and let it be okay. This is part of my life's journey. This is part of my process. Thank you so much for allowing me to experience this. And now I turn it over.
And by feeling, that also means not thinking and analyzing and rethinking.
Correct. Correct. Yes. You don't want to stir up a flame that you've extinguished. It's done. I'm done with this pattern. I want to move forward in my life. I don't want endless reruns of the same old movie anymore. That's what the forgiveness is about.
I guess my question would be, because when I work with people, a lot of times old issues will come up and they'll be like, I thought I dealt with it. And yet energetically, we can flame those fires and have it come up and be very intense emotionally for people. So how do you know that you've actually let it go?
One easy way to tell is, has the same old thing stopped happening? If you're not getting more and more and more episodes of that stuff, you can pretty much be sure you're at completion with that theme. You can move forward and work on other themes. There's not just one. Everybody has many they've come into this lifetime to bring to completion. So the key to moving forward with it is allow yourself the grace of feeling your feelings. We are taught ladies don't get angry and big boys don't cry. And so we've been trained from the very beginning to stuff it, sweep it under the rug. It's not pretty stuff. That's your undoing. Then you're dealing with it. Then you're glossing over it. It's time to stop this pattern. And the book goes in detail about how to do that, how to work on it.
And there's a direct link to our individual buried emotional baggage and what's happening right now in the world and with humanity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
What's going on in the world is no less vibrational than what's going on within the depths of each of us. Each of us gets one vote in this collective thing we call life, our collective reality. We're projecting onto the ethers our vibrational vote. You want to make the highest possible contribution you can so that we can lift ourselves up out of this cloud. That's the opportunity in awakening to the potential to make a difference in the biggest way. It starts with you. Don't worry about what the other guy is doing. He's playing his part. His role is predestined. It's not his fault. He's an actor on the stage. Worry about yourself. What am I projecting? Am I putting out the good stuff? Am I projecting my resentment, negativity by giving verbal energy to what it is I don't want? Stop that. And you'll see that life around you and the people you interact with are affected in a positive way and reflect that back to you.
And why is it so necessary, Rasha, that we do this work now? It's the time of awakening, right?
Everybody's at a different level with it. The time of awakening is an ongoing process. This is a time when more and more people are waking up. We're not just victims. This is all a collective reflection of composite energy playing back to us as a movie we're watching and thinking of as our world. It's all a movie. It's energy. So don't get sucked down into it. Just watch the movie.
And the book very clearly says that no soul gets left behind. This is a vibrational shift for every one of us.
That is absolutely true. Yeah. The book Oneness is a timeless tome of divine wisdom, and people jump into it at the level that they resonate with it. There's something in there for every level, the most advanced and the most beginner. The interesting thing about this book, it's an experiential book. You'll be reading it, and then suddenly, for whatever reason, you'll feel like, oh, I want to put this book down for a while. That'll create a space for an experience to happen. And you will find that you are living this book. You will experience exactly what you just read. I know this is true because I've had hundreds of emails of people saying, I can't believe this just happened to me. And I read about it yesterday. So people are grasping these principles from their own experience of it, not mentally as concepts with their minds. So it becomes an adventure. And it will take months to read this book. Don't think there's something wrong with you or the book. This is what's supposed to happen. It's a journey. Read a chapter or two, put it down, watch what happens. Amazing.
Honestly, Rasha, any one paragraph, every paragraph is imbued with spiritual wisdom, right?
This book is a gold mine.
Literally, this is what I did, is just opened up to page 44. Ultimately, all will make the transition and transcend interdimensionally, but there is no guarantee that this will occur in this lifetime or even the next on an individual basis. There is no guarantee that one will make the shift in the company of kindred companions who share your understandings of these times. For the process itself is conceived in timelessness, and the only schedule at hand is the one custom-made for you by your own choices. Fascinating, Rasha. A lot of people think that it's like a switch and all of us ascend at the same time, but this,
Like that.
we had a little miracle story with this book. It really did seem like divine intervention, because Rasha had sent me the book, and 6 weeks later, I hadn't received it at all. And the day she contacted me, or I contacted you, I can't remember who did what, I go out to the front porch and there is the book. The book is right there.
Amazing.
It was very amazing. And I was really keen to step into it. The thing I find, I can't sit and read like a chapter or 2 chapters at a time, because every single paragraph is rich in spiritual wisdom. No filler.
Every paragraph, every sentence is loaded. And you'll find you'll want to stop and read that one again. It's like, wait a minute, what did they say? And you read it again. And as you read it again, you're peeling back the layers of the onion. You get to a deeper level with the understanding of what that's about. And then you start to remember something that happened in your life that was exactly that. So it's a process. Don't fault yourself for not belting through this book, because you're not going to. It's going to stop you and say, wait a minute, read that again.
Obvious that I haven't finished the book. Does it give an inkling to what's next after we go through this period of letting go and having all of this fodder come to the surface so that we can feel it and release the energy of it?
Everyone experiences these times differently. And depending on your journey and your choices, that is the level you will get to in this lifetime. That's the level of the difference that you can make by being present in these extraordinary times. It doesn't have to be a nightmare. It doesn't have to be such a roller coaster ride. You can cruise through this while the world is going through its upheaval and focus on the gratitude and the joy in the simple expressions of your life. That opportunity is there. Instead of wringing your hands and joining the chorus of everybody who is putting fuel on the fire of negativity with their fear. I have it on the best authority. It's going to look up. It's going to be a little messy, but there was a wonderful teaching that I brought through that explained why all of this is going on. And they said, before a skyscraper can be built, you have to level the ground. You have to knock it all down. What no longer serves us cannot hold form vibrationally. We have ascended out of the range of reality where that kind of stuff was relevant. It's not relevant anymore. It's got to crumble. That's why the stuff that no longer serves us is falling by the wayside. This is not a bad thing, because it makes it possible. It creates a way for something higher and better to emerge from the ashes of what looks like destruction. That is the foundation for something to emerge that is so much stronger and so much more relevant to the times that are now emerging. What we want to do is emerge in those conditions with it. So highest and the best. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't give verbal energy to what you don't want. Our listeners know all these things. Just reinforcing it.
So aside from feeling whatever emotions we find ourselves in and not getting caught up in the fodder that's around us, is there any other guidance that has come through that can help us navigate this path with greater ease?
There is a 440-page book called Oneness that goes into detail on all the things we can do. So a lot of loving kindness went into creating this book as one that will endure through posterity, because the teachings deserve that. I can't pick out of the air one or two teachings because it's vast. But it's huge. When you understand the body of information we've been gifted with this book of how to get through this with dignity, with grace, and with optimism.
Rasha, I'm curious, how did you understand that the guidance was coming from Oneness?
I was trained by Amitabh over the course of 10 years on the skills of spiritual discernment. And actually, the book, The Calling, goes into depth on that. How can a person tell if they're in an audience and somebody is channeling, whether that is worth listening to or not? How do you know if it's true? You tune in to your chakras. That's a simplistic answer. If you get a sense of discomfort in your solar plexus, tune out. If you get a sense of expansiveness and joy in your heart, you may want to tune in and consider what's being said. So I was prepared over the course of 10 years to be able to bring through a presence of the magnitude of oneness. I wouldn't have been able to handle that back in 1987. No way. I was carefully taken step by step and vibrationally prepared to carry that force so that I could let it pour through me and get into the backseat of my own car, turn over the driver's seat to oneness and go for the ride.
Now, you don't call yourself a channel.
No, I don't.
Can you explain the difference for us?
Yeah, the process is different. The result is the same. You get information on a paper or on a computer screen. But the difference is when you channel, there's a sense of you and there's a sense of other than you. And you are interacting with that. And there's the conversation going on. And you're documenting it. That's channeling. In order for that to happen, there has to be you present. When oneness comes through, Rasha dissolves. There is no Rasha. It's a merge. Oneness is fully in the form, transcribes the teachings onto the computer, and Rasha gets to come back later and read it and cry. Tears of joy of, oh my God, I couldn't have written that. I call it being a messenger, being a divine messenger. It's technical differences that people who study this would understand, but suffice to say, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's people's dead relatives, there's extraterrestrials, there's all sorts of consciousness in the guise of wisdom that has come forth in these times. And it's important for us to become spiritually street smart. Don't be so gullible. Just because they're dead doesn't mean they're smart. That's another well-known saying. How does the information feel? Never mind what your logical mind is saying with it. Does this feel like divine truth? Or is this a bunch of gobbledygook? That's what you need to ask yourself when you're in an audience, or if you are interacting with otherworldly sources of information. Don't be naive and gullible. Everything that's coming from elsewhere is not necessarily wisdom.
And we have these beautiful bodies that are truth detectors.
Oh, yes. Could feel it. Do you feel joy when you interact with this energy? Or is there a sense of trepidation? That's your cue. Tune into how do you feel when you encounter something. If you're sitting in an audience and somebody's up there on the stage. Because ego is no less present on the other side of the veil than it is here. The discarnate consciousness is having a ball, grabbing the microphone and watching that everybody is so impressed with anything they might happen to say.
And there are some very high vibration channels as well.
Yes, there are.
Are you still bringing messages through, Rasha?
Absolutely. There are 2 more books in the works.
Wonderful. It's been absolutely delightful having spent this time with you today. Where can we send people who'd like to know more?
Yeah, there is a website, onenesswebsite.com. We're doing a brand new website, and that will be up very soon. But the traditional website is still there with lots of things that people can sign up for. A free, beautiful email series with quotations and gorgeous pictures that will come 2, 3 times a week for a year, absolutely free. That gives you a little tidbit for the day, just something to ponder. There's an audio email series where you can close your eyes for 1 minute and hear my voice reading one of the most profound paragraphs in the Oneness book. That's something that people enjoy. So welcome to the teachings of Oneness.
Thank you for being my guest, Rasha.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. Thank you.
And thank you for listening to this week's edition of Exploring the Mystical Side of Life. You will find all of our conversations on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. Come visit me at thoughtchange.com, pick up your copy of Learning to Listen, and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.